how important has meaning been for you? Like, how important is it in general? And then maybe if you can also talk about how you've thought about that in the teams that you've been in.
It's incredibly important to me. And in fact, it sort of makes all the difference. Looking at my father's career, he worked for a company called General Foods, which was put together with Kraft and became part of bigger conglomerates. And he sort of ran brands and things. And I always looked at what he did and I said, oh my God, that's boring. You know, he worked on dog food and instant coffee and things like that. And I thought, that's got to be the dullest thing in the world. And he always used to say, well, you know, it's not the product, it's what I get to do and who I get to do it with. And that was always kind of interesting to me. And I used to think about that. And I thought, well, I agree with him. However, I do need for myself to add that element of, if not so much the product, then the impact of that product.
Yeah.
And so that's what took me originally into renewable energy. And I spent about a dozen years in different places in renewables, helping create products that saved water and electricity, or that created electricity, improved solar output, wind output, things like that. And then eventually, as a parent, I started to get involved in the college admissions process with my kids and saw just an enormous mess and a system that was in desperate need of change. And I thought that was intellectually interesting, but I didn't decide to commit myself and my time to the problem until I realized that the problem is not evenly distributed amongst the schools and the students in the system. That the wealthy kids whose parents had higher education levels did significantly better. And when you look at the graduation rate at the Ivy Plus schools is 95 plus percent. If you look at the graduation rate for the public universities that have essentially open admission, it's about 30%. So it's three times better.
Mm,
Your outcomes are three times better if you're rich and well educated to begin with.
mm,
And the African American graduation rate is half the white graduation rate. And so
mm,
when I started to look at this problem and say, that is something that I find intellectually and sort of professionally interesting as to how to
mm.
solve the problem. But once I connected to the mission side of it to say, I want to use technology to level the playing field, then it became something that I wanted to commit my time to. And I kind of moved from my focus on renewable energy into a focus on higher education outcomes.